Hey everybody, it's Kelly and I am back with the third layout in a small series that I'm doing. About a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago now, Shamel Lane did a Facebook Live video and I lifted that layout on that day. And then in the next 2 days, I lifted it twice more. So I realized that since I videoed them all, that I have a little bit of a series going here. And it's kind of fun to be able to see what you do with a basic foundation and then how you can change that. So the first layout I did was pretty much a lift of Shamel's layout. The second one, I used the same foundation. And so that first layout is called Rousing Game. The second layout is called Family Dance Party. And again, these are all videos. And I used the same foundation on the second one, but then did something different with a different size photo and how it was arranged. Now for this third one, what I've done is I've taken the foundation and I turned it 90 degrees so that that strip of paper used to be in the original layout on the left on the first two, and now I've rotated it to the bottom. All right, so that's how that changes. So back to what I've done so far. My border, or my paper there, I have a little border paper, is navy cardstock from Basil. Shamel did have that border on hers. And then in the center, that yellow paper is from Echo Park Photo Freedom Volume 1. It's the yellow paper. That's cut to 11 1/4 inches. And that is the same for all three layouts. Then this stripe paper on the bottom, that diagonal stripe paper, is from Echo Park That's My Boy, and it's called Boy Stripes. And I changed things up a little bit here. Because my photos are smaller here, I had cut that small border paper, the small strip of paper, to 3 inches in the other two layouts. In this particular layout, I cut it to 4 because I wanted it to be more of a presence here because my photos are smaller. All right, then I wasn't liking my photos flat on that background, so I grabbed some aqua polka dot paper from Lawn Fawn. It's called Let's Polka, and it's Mermaid Polka is the name of it. So that just gives the photos a little bit more presence, and it joins them together. And then to repeat what I've done before on these layouts, or what Shamel did, is I am going to put a border between the two pattern papers. That's that green border strip that you're seeing there, and that's from Echo Park Little Man. It's the green and yellow paper. And then I have inked all of these with my gray flannel ink just to get some separation between patterns, to help a little definition, to help give a little definition. Now what I've done is I'm laying this down. I'm just going to put that border strip right over the top. I had originally thought about using that journaling card, and I think it's from That's My Boy by Echo Park. But when I lay it down next to the photos, see how nice you see the green there in that foundation? When I lay that down, you really don't see the green anymore. It's just a tiny little bit peeking out, and I don't really care for that when I start looking at it. So I decide, even though I had cut that down and narrowed it up a little bit, I decided that I wanted to do something else for my journaling. And I'm going to go through a couple of different ideas before I get there. And right now I'm working with the Elle Studio die cuts from Sunny Days. It's the bits and pieces from Sunny Days, and that's where that Remember These Moments and the green star are coming from. It's from Elle Studio Sunny Days. Now I'm also working with the labels that you're seeing there that are in that pack are not really from there. They're the Jonah labels, and that's where that red and orange label that are sitting there, and then that gray and sort of blue are sitting there. And then I cut out this little piece here, that red piece, and that was from a cut apart from Sunny Days, but I'm going to abandon that. I decide I don't like that red. It's a little bit too red, and it's screaming a little bit too much for me. It's screaming, look at me, look at me. So then I go to another set of my Elle Studio die cuts, and I find this circle journaling spot with the stars, and that is from Elle Studio Everyday Moments. It's the bits and pieces, and that has green and yellow and blue and the craft and red in it. Even though like the green isn't exactly the green, it's fine. I like how it brings kind of all the colors from that diagonal paper, or most of the colors from that diagonal paper, into that journaling spot. And it also now, because the layout is very, very linear, pops a surprise of a circle there. And I think that's important. So now I am definitely playing around with different things. I found that little die cut that says this is where the story begins, and that's just from an Elle Studio Bits and Pieces grab bag that I bought at Thanksgiving. And I like that. I'm playing around with that red label's a Jonah label. I have a little bit of a label from, I believe, another grab bag. That's where the yellow one came from, but I don't like it. Now I'm cutting off this white border here. I almost wish when this is all done that I hadn't completely cut them apart, that I had just left the white border on and maybe cut the border, cut the edges so that they're slanted like the label is. But it's okay. I mean, that's it's a minor thing. It just feels like it's very stark that that label goes from red to the background for some reason. It bothers my eye a little bit. But like I said, not the worst thing in the whole world. All right, so I'm going to get my photographs or my photo block here glued down, because I have a lot of moving pieces here right now. I like what's going on in the top cluster, but I'm not loving so much all the other things that are going on. And in the top cluster, I forgot to tell you about the little banner there that I have that says, "You shine so bright." And that also comes from the Sunny Days Bits and Pieces. Now, all that's really fitting because this is a little story about my nephew and some friends of his at their graduation. So like that, this is where the story begins. It really makes a lot of sense. And the shine so bright and the remember these moments, those kinds of things. All right, so I'm just cutting and I'm using that label and trying to figure out where I want that. I'm going to journal a little bit on it. And now I'm looking for some dimensional pieces here because I don't have dimension on this layout. And I'm putting those back because I'm pretty sure that I want that to go up there. All right, so I found this little chipboard Friends, and that came from the Bell Boulevard Chow Chip Whatnots. And then I found that circle that says Smile Big. Again, just adding a couple of circular elements in here to break up all the lines. And I'm still unsure about which labels I'm going to use in that cluster. So then I use the blue label, the blue Jonah label, and then I find that Memories chipboard from the Whatnots, the Bell Boulevard Whatnots, and that satisfies me. I like the yellow and the blue in there. And then, you know, just giving some dimension into that cluster as well too. Now, because I've inked the papers, I'm going to, in the journaling spot, I'm going to ink all my other elements as well to help pop them off the paper and give them some dimension. So that will actually take me a moment, a little bit of time to do that. Sometimes I create dimension by using foam tape, which I'm going to do with something in this layout, and sometimes I just do it by using the chipboard. And that's what I'm doing here. And I can see I don't think I added extra ATG to the back of those chipboard pieces, which oftentimes I will do because I've gone back and found Bella Boulevard chipboard falling off layouts, mostly with their alphas, but still. That's one of those things we all know, you have to add it to the chipboard. All right, then I'm going to take this little Friends chipboard and ink it up, and I'm going to add it to this cluster, but it's not going to stay there. I'm going to move it eventually. All right, and it's funny because this cluster up here was the thing I was most sure about, the cluster I was most sure about, and it's the one I glued down last, because sometimes I'll glue things down as I'm sure of what they are while I'm thinking about other things. In this particular case, I just played with the other things until they actually worked. And there's that Shine Bright die cut there from the Sunny Days Bits and Pieces. And this is where I'm going to add dimension to that die cut. I'm just going to add a little bit of my Scotch foam tape behind there. I get it in a large roll and I buy it on Amazon. So that gives that cluster dimension now too. And what I'm doing here is I'm checking the date and I'm checking names of the guys as well too, for when I glue things down. Then I'm looking at, I want to bring some more color into this layout, and I find this sheet of matte dots. They're like enamel dots, but they're matte, from Doodlebug, from the dog assortment, and they're just called matte sprinkles. And it has all the colors of the layout. So there's blue in there, there's turquoise, there's red, green, and orange. So I'm going to take them and just kind of scatter them around my layout. And I like what ended up happening here is, in this particular case, I used quite a few of the largest size, which I usually have a hard time using. So that was a good thing. And these are interesting, like I said, because they're matte. They're not the typical enamel dot that you're used to. All right, and I like the way that looks. And I'm not sure about this, if I did this on camera or not, but I realized towards the end of this that I was missing like a third dot in that cluster with the red Jonah label at the top left there, or at the top left of the photos. So later on I add an orange dot into that cluster. All right, so this layout is going to be called Such a Friendship, and I'm using my American Craft stickers in Twilight. That's the navy. I'm going to be very sad when this sheet is done. It's like a perfect size, and it's a perfect navy color. This font is probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, at least, now that I think about it. It was from Poolside. Maybe it's not quite that. Maybe it's 3 years old. From Crepe Paper Poolside was the name of the collection that it came from. It was hard to get. I didn't have an F there, so I took a T, just cut one side off of it, and put it down for the lower, I don't know what you call those things, the lower part of the F there. There is something here that's bothering me, and that's that I don't like how there's a gap between that friend circle and where the friendship starts. So I'm thinking about that as I'm doing this. And I take out my tile letter stickers from Simple Stories. It's the snap stickers in the typeset alphabet. This is their original collection, and these are old. I love mini letter stickers, but I also have too many of them. What I need to do is just put them, like this collection, sitting on my desk, and then I would use it up because I would see it out there and available. They just sit in a little basket to my left, but when I have things in a pile on my desk, I always do that. I keep a few things in a little pile to my left hand, and that way I use them up. Okay, so I like the way that title's laying, but I don't like where it's laying. So I pull off that Friends chipboard and move it over to the left, and I like the balance there a little bit. I think it was too weighty on that right side of that cluster because the title is there as well. And now I'm going to have to move my whole title because of that. And then I moved my the little green matte dot there, and I'm going to move the navy matte dot as well. And fortunately these weren't stuck down. More importantly, fortunately, the tile letter stickers didn't stick down too much. Okay, just getting that all done here, and I am going to journal. I think I don't journal until the end of till after the video shut off, if I remember correctly, though. So I will do that. Look for that in the detail shots because I know that I took the photos after I journaled. All right, so make sure that there's that enamel dot I was telling you about. Here is the detail shot, and or the still shot and a couple of detail shots. Make sure you go back and look at the other 2 layouts in this series. They should be the 2 previous layouts. Hope you're all well. Be back with another one soon. Bye.